What exactly do you genuinely say to yourself deep down when you inevitably fall in that precise, exact second you truly hit the hard ground? Because let's be honest, life is absolutely going to hit you, and this isn't merely a threat, it's an undeniable, fundamental reality. You're certainly going to fall, you're definitely going to make significant mistakes, you're undoubtedly going to feel profoundly rejected, and you're going to fail at things that actually matter to you. But the truly important question isn't whether you're going to fall. That particular outcome is, in fact, already settled. It's the crucial one I asked you at the very beginning. The truly decisive question is entirely different because it's right there, precisely after you fall, when it unmistakably appears, the persistent critical voice. The one that kindly whispers, "I knew it. You're utterly a fraud. You're simply not enough. Just give up." We all have it. The difference between people who get back up and those who stay down isn't that they don't hear that voice. The difference is in what they do when they hear it. In this comprehensive video, I'm going to share with you the remarkable manual that a distinguished Harvard psychologist meticulously followed and painstakingly developed. He courageously risked his very own life in that intense and pivotal battle, and his historically significant name was indeed William James. His profound idea, which subsequently inspired the powerful phrase we've repeated so very often throughout our lives, is brutally and undeniably clear. It is truly you, in that precise and crucial moment, with the specific way you consciously talk to yourself internally, who ultimately decides whether you've unfortunately fallen into a deep and inescapable rut or not, or into a grave. That profound internal decision, often completely invisible to others, truly is the crucial line that exists between genuine resilience and deep, lingering regret. And in this comprehensive video, we are going to thoroughly try to carefully dismantle that persistent, critical inner voice together, exploring its origins and impact. And we are going to do it truly using the powerful tools of a remarkable man who saved himself quite precisely by diligently learning to talk to himself in a profoundly different way. You'll learn to wisely choose the familiar rut and certainly not the final grave. And why was William James so obsessed with this idea? Because he was not in fact born as the renowned pioneering figure and father of modern psychology of the entire field. He was born, much like so many of us, feeling utterly lost, completely stuck, with the profound and overwhelming sensation that his entire life had absolutely no discernible way out. And he even suffered from a truly deep and debilitating depression, an intense existential crisis that tragically led him to seriously and gravely contemplate the unthinkable act of suicide. He felt like a prisoner of determinism, of thinking, this is just how I am, this is my character, I can't change it, my story is like this, and I have no room to maneuver. His relentless inner critic kept constantly telling him with a persistent and nagging voice that it truly didn't matter what he might do because absolutely nothing was ever going to fundamentally change. And yet, what profoundly and dramatically changed his entire life wasn't extensive therapy, nor some unexpected stroke of sheer good luck, nor any kind of divine or mystical enlightenment that miraculously came down from the heavens above. No, it came from an act of willpower that was as small as it was enormous at the same time. He decided, as an experiment, to believe that he had as much capacity to choose as if he could prove it. His act of freedom was to believe that he had free will. And he didn't know if that was true in philosophical terms, but he asked himself something more practical. If I truly behave as if I could choose, then what really happens to my own life? And by doing this, James was connecting with a very ancient idea, that of Epictetus, a slave who became one of the great philosophers of Rome. And he said, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinion of them. The opinion we have about things. In other words, it's not the fall that destroys you, it's the story you tell yourself about that fall. And here, everything we've seen so far in this video series comes together. As we saw in the video about inflammation and values, that opinion is not just a philosophical thought, it's a philosophical command. Your brain to your body. It tells your body whether it should go to war or begin to repair itself. And as we saw in the video about telomeres, the longest-lived people in the world live in cultures where that critical inner voice has much less power by default. What William James truly did was to provide the crucial missing piece, the essential manual to effectively build that inner resilience from deep within yourself. His philosophy was called Pragmatism, and his rule was simple and at the same time radical. The question is not, is this absolutely true? True? No. The question is, does this belief give me strength? Does it help me get back up when I'm down? And if the answer is yes, then it's true enough for your life. What you truly believe is what you ultimately create, your own reality. And the problem is, how do you believe something new when your critical voice is constantly shouting the opposite? Well, that's precisely where the profound secret truly lies, and that's exactly where James generously gives us his most incredibly powerful and insightful trick. He vividly described the human mind to us as a vast, flowing river of continuous consciousness, an unending, ceaseless flow of intricate thoughts, vivid images, cherished memories, and even deep-seated fears. And you will absolutely never, ever be able to completely stop that powerful river. There is simply no magical button to instantly turn off all those persistent negative thoughts. It doesn't exist. Your brain, moreover, is designed to be constantly generating warnings. That's a way to protect you from danger. That's why the critical voice will always, always show up. The good news is that even though you can't stop the river, what you can do is choose where you put your attention and, above all, what you do with it. That's where his incredibly well-known and most famous tool truly comes into play, the profound principle of acting as if. This isn't an empty mantra, nor is it self-deception. It's something much more serious. It's turning action into evidence. In other words, don't wait to feel brave before you act. Act as if you were brave. And by doing so, your nervous system will register that action as new evidence. Evidence. Do not wait to feel completely confident before you actually speak. Instead, speak as if your valuable opinion truly had significant worth, and little by little, your entire body will gradually start associating your powerful voice with a strong, confident presence, and certainly not with any sense of shame. Don't wait for your inner critic to give you permission to get up. Get up. As if you already knew that this setback is not a grave. And this isn't positive thinking. This is a behavioral challenge. It's telling your inner critic, you know what, I hear you. But from now on, I'm going to show you something with my actions. Every act of as if is a direct message to your brain. Your failure script doesn't describe the whole reality, you're telling it so. Your belief stops being a passive, mere mirror and truly becomes a powerful hammer that actively shapes your entire life. But this profound truth is especially clear when we carefully look at real people, individuals who, after similar challenging setbacks, decided to genuinely talk to themselves in a different way. And this is where theory becomes real, tangible reality, in a very concrete and meaningful way. The image, just to give you an idea, is this. The sun is out, but you are the one who decides whether or not to raise the blinds. And history is full of brilliant people who left the blinds down. The example of Nikola Tesla, a genius. The man who imagined much of the electrical and electronic world we live in today. His life was a succession of blows, one after another. Laboratories that burned down, investors who abandoned him, rivals who mocked him in public. Those were its potholes, one after the other. And at some point along the way, his internal dialogue simply changed and stopped being, "This hurts, but I keep going," and became something like, "The world is too stupid to understand me. I'm alone. There's no point in continuing to fight." He isolated himself, he shut down, and he stopped acting as if he could win any battle. Objectively speaking, his inherent talent was still very much there, but his critical inner voice took complete control of his entire life. He gradually fell into a deep rut, and that rut, precisely because of the harsh way he spoke to himself, became a grave long before he actually died. Now, let's go to the other extreme. President Abraham Lincoln. His biography is almost a collection of setbacks, business failures, lost elections, a nervous breakdown, and even the death of two of his children. Can you imagine how loud his critical voice must have been? What must it have been like? "Give up! You've already tried too much. You're not cut out for this." The difference wasn't in the circumstances, but in his internal response. Lincoln acknowledged the pain, but he didn't give in to the narrative of failure. And when he lost the key election, he said something really tough and very honest. He said, "I am truly too old, far too grown up to shed tears, and it causes me immense pain to even attempt to laugh." In other words, he acknowledged the wound but kept moving forward. And he acted again and again as if the next step mattered, even though inside he was and felt completely broken. Before William James was even born, Abraham Lincoln was already effectively utilizing his profound principle to act as if true willpower made sense in a meaningful way. That "as if" of Lincoln ended up changing the course of an entire country and possibly the course of the world as we know it today. And so that it doesn't remain just a distant story from 100 years ago or more. Let's look at the case of J.K. Rowling, a much more recent example, the author of Harry Potter. Before Harry Potter was published, she was simply a single mother with financial problems who had been rejected by 12 publishers. 12 times they told her, "In practice, you're not good enough, and what you're bringing us isn't worth it." Can you imagine her inner critic? "Who do you think you are? Go get a real job already. Give up on this dream." But she didn't wait to feel confident. She didn't wait for the world to validate her. She sat down to write again and again. She acted as if her compelling story was truly worth telling to the world, and every single time she diligently returned to her manuscript after facing yet another rejection, what she was profoundly telling her own brain was this clear message: your failure script absolutely does not rule here, not anymore. This wasn't just a feeling, this was an act, a decision. And those actions ended up proving that her inner critic didn't define who she really was. In reality, Well, I've just introduced you to 3 different lives, 3 stories, but one same law. The critical voice speaks, but you decide whether to obey it or to respond to it with your actions. William James summed up his vision in a very simple yet absolutely devastating idea. He said, your belief is not a passive mirror, it's a muscle. It's not something you just have and that's it, no. It's something you either train or let atrophy. If you want to strengthen a weak arm, you do not simply wait for it to be sufficiently strong before you begin lifting heavy weights. You start lifting it precisely when it's weak in order to strengthen it. And with each repetition, the arm grows. The same thing happens with your mind. Your deeply held belief that you can or cannot successfully do something is often profoundly trained and solidified in those truly uncomfortable moments. When the inner critical voice is shouting loudly and when intense fear firmly tightens its powerful grip. When exhaustion says enough. Every single time, in that very moment, when you choose a different, more empowering phrase and take a small, courageous step or make a meaningful gesture of true courage, you are doing a powerful repetition at the gym of your unwavering willpower. It can't be seen from the outside. But on the inside, your entire nervous system is registering something very important indeed, over and over again. Even if the critical inner voice speaks, it absolutely doesn't control my actions. And that's precisely where true motivation truly begins. Not as a fleeting, transient emotion, but as a consistently repeated decision. Because, as I told you at the beginning, sooner or later, life is going to knock you down. Today, tomorrow, or a year from now. You don't know when. And when you're down there on the ground, you'll hear it. That voice, the same as always. The one that says, give up. It's pointless. This is as far as you go. But now you know there's another voice. And that it's available to you. The voice of your willpower. The voice that says, yes, it hurts, it's true. Yes, I'm afraid too. But this is just a bump in the road, not a grave. And that difference isn't just poetry. That difference is what shapes your destiny. To finish, let's turn this philosophy into a concrete commitment to yourself. You don't truly understand James's principle until you put it into practice. This isn't just a nice idea. It's a pact with yourself about which voice will have the final say when life gets tough. And it will get tough. And it's not a grand speech. It's not a massive annual plan. No. This is something that happens in seconds. I'd almost say milliseconds, and in the silence of your own mind. That is precisely why I am suggesting something quite simple, yet profoundly and deeply serious. From this very day forward, every single time that life inevitably hits you hard, you must consciously and deliberately choose one of these 3 distinct and important paths. Don't memorize them as theory, just use them as tools. The first one, the path of honest listening. Don't try to silence the critical voice, Listen to it and listen to it clearly. Give it exact words. When it tells you, you're not worth it, you're going to mess it up, you're not good enough, you let it speak and you listen to it. And then you stop to reflect and you have to realize that all of it, is just an old echo, a survival mechanism that no longer serves you. You have to say it to yourself. It doesn't serve me anymore. And just by unmasking that critical voice, you're making it lose a great deal of its power. Second, the path of useful meaning. Change the phrase. but not to fool yourself, rather to choose what gives you strength. Ask yourself, it's very easy. Which phrase? Even if it's not perfect, which one really helps me take the next step? It could be, I hear you, but you know what? I choose the belief that gives me strength, and I'm not going to focus on the next negative step you're suggesting. I'm going for the positive step because the absolute truth, you don't know it. What you do know, and you know it very well, is that which idea allows you to keep moving forward. Well then, choose that one. Third, the path of building muscle, the small act, building with small actions. Put into practice the smallest action that your critical voice is forbidding you to do. Get up and promptly send that important message. Then diligently open the relevant document. Subsequently, make that crucial call. And finally, carefully write a compelling line. Act as if you were already the accomplished and successful person you truly aspire to become. Don't listen to it. Courage is not a feeling you have beforehand. Courage is an action that your emotions eventually adapt to. Every time you choose one of those paths, what you're doing is training your willpower muscle. It's something that's not visible, but it's being built. Something that, yes, is very real. The deep confidence that you can get up one more time. So this is the commitment. Today, before the day ends, don't do anything huge, just do something. Something quite small. Take a moment to truly listen to your inner dialogue for a brief moment. Just that, and then ask yourself this important question. Is this particular voice truly on my side, or is it on the side of fear? And if it's on your side, don't push it away. Just tell it one thing. You are not going to decide for me. Remember, you're not responsible for the critical voice showing up. You're always going to have it there. But you are responsible for the conversation you choose to have with it. It is you in that very moment, with the way you talk to yourself, who decides whether this blow is just a bump in the road or a grave. The final question, as always, is very simple. What story are you going to tell yourself the next time you fall? I'll read your comments. Go ahead, always forward.